Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat on the way in. My apologies for the tardiness, but we will get underway. I'm kind of gonna freestyle this tonight. We will be talking about the recent Larry Elder interview, kind of, sort of. I didn't even make it all the way through it, which I have to do. So there might be a part two to this. Um, you know, so I want us to be careful as black men in the black manosphere. Um, I'm saying this for a very specific reason, right? I'm watching, people's review of the Elder interview and, loving, watching Charlemagne get washed, especially when he tries to flip it and talking about, the Negro wake up call. That's not the word he uses. There might be some profanity tonight. It's going to be needed probably, and I'm probably going to bring people on. So we will see. But yeah, so, Charlemagne brings up the Negro wake up call, and Larry Elder flips it on him and brings up Biden and the fact that Charlemagne ate that. So, right? So, yeah, that wasn't a good look on Charlemagne's part whatsoever at all. You should have saw that coming. I'm going to be quicker than that. And, yeah, so that happened. And I see people celebrating. My title is Between a Rock and a Hard Place, right? And we are, as black men particularly, who are somewhat politically astute, who are part of the black manosphere, who, we were raised, many of us, Democrat, even if we're not particularly left-leaning ourselves, and many of us are turning our back on that. But I want us to be careful not to be the female equivalent of what's going on with the women, right? It's something that we have to be aware of. Larry Elder, I don't see even being any significance in the primary on the Republican ticket, let alone anywhere near a general election. Like, I don't see it. Is it possible? Well, anything is possible. Quite frankly, standard issue, talking points, nothing, nothing to see here, right? And I definitely understand, the fatherhood thing. I think Charlemagne is not the right person to be having these conversations. Clearly, he's not prepared. He's not politically astute enough. I don't even think Charlemagne has his own political ideology, to be frank. You see these people and they try to like walk a very tightrope between certain like conservative, more Republican ideology versus more Democratic ideology, and it's very interesting because there is a reason why you appeal to one party for certain things and you appeal to another party for other things, because they're, for the most part, they're not budging from that spot, right? Like, short story. Much of the reason why there was a fallout between Tone Talks and Yvette and Tariq Nasheed is because Tariq Nasheed kind of threw in the Democrats' face, like, look, Trump with the opportunity zones. And it's like, well, that's an old Nixon thing, number one. Number two, it sounds like it helps small business owners until you remember that opportunity zones in the hood with poor people is going to be just rich people benefiting even more, right? And what was interesting about that is that that's when the fallout really happened between Tone and Tariq. Is Tone was like, I don't think you understand that Republican Party is not the party of like where they're not for reparations because they're not for big government at all anymore, right? Like that's what Tone was attempting to tell Tariq, but he did it publicly. And I understand he responded publicly because obviously Tariq spoke about the opportunity zones and whatnot publicly, right? So this is like, one of those things where you try to thumb one group of people in the eye, but do you really understand or do you really appreciate, better yet? Because I struggle to say understand because it's a bit insulting. Do you appreciate the difference? Now, this is where black people, like, you ever see when a person gets played, like, it don't matter anyway. So this is when black people are saying, like, it's all the same anyway. The Democrats and Republicans are all the same anyway. It's like, Yeah, you're saying that because you didn't appreciate the difference, right? You're saying that because, and is there things that both of the parties are exactly the same, especially when it comes to black people? Of course. Are both of the parties playing this good cop, bad cop thing? Of course. But there is somewhat of a distinction. And like when you're playing in the big leagues and you don't appreciate that, or at least you act like you don't appreciate that, then it's questionable how serious you are, right? And so tying that to Charlemagne, and the reason why I brought up the Tariq Nasheed story is because Charlemagne having this conversation with Larry Elder, thinking that he's going to catch up a 71-year-old, if I'm not mistaken, I think Larry Elder is in his early 70s, if he's not 71 years old, a 70-year-old with the Negro wake-up call. And the fact that, like, Larry Elder said, no, he didn't. That was a setup. There's no way Larry Elder never heard of the Negro wake-up call. Absolutely no way. Absolutely no way. So you fell for the setup, and you thought you had him on an okie doke, and he got you. And you're looking bad, right? You really believe that Larry Elder doesn't know what a Negro wake-up call is? Right? So, either way, Larry Elder with the standard issues, if the fathers were in the home, you got to keep the people from getting welfare and whatnot. Okay, let's just get right to it. The left offer the welfare so that the people don't burn the country to the ground. Let's just get right to it. It's their way of mitigating for the fallout of people having to be the reserve pool of labor. If we got to get right to it, if I gotta speak to y'all in some super lefty terms, what it really is we have groups of people that are not going to be employed at certain periods of time, and we need these people to still eat so they don't burn the country to the ground. That's why Republicans only go after it so much. That's why Bill Clinton gutted these things but didn't destroy these things. You need the social programs because you know the economic structure needs people to be unemployed. You need the reserve pool of labor, number one, to keep costs down. Number two, like god damn, what's my comedian name that passed away? And his name is right there. Damn it. Anyway, missed it. Anyway, you need poor people to scare the rich people, right? Excuse me. You need poor people to scare the middle class people to keep them going to those jobs, right? There's a reason why these things exist. And Larry Elder knows this. We're not saying anything new. Charlemagne did not challenge Larry Elder for real. He didn't. Because he didn't know enough. And I don't mean to be insulting. Charlemagne simply did not know enough to challenge Larry Elder for real. Because he lacks the political education. He just doesn't have it. Right? Like I said, I don't think he has his own political philosophy, his own political ideology. Right? And so for someone like that, it's easy for someone like Larry Elder, who's been doing this for decades, to catch you up. And use standard issue talking points, and lie by omission. And play on the fact that he knows you're ignorant about these things. Charlemagne, you're too old. You're too old to not know these things. You're too old to be straddling the fence. Right? For Larry Elder to catch you up like that, you're too old for it to be that easy. He kept on bringing up fatherless homes, right? And the thing with these people, like, they don't want to speak about the economic environment, right? And that you live in a capitalist society, and you told the men and the women, the men are nothing but walking wallets. So guess what happens when he's nothing but a walking wallet with no money in it? When men become nothing but walking wallets with no money, and many of them standard issue $40,000 a year, then guess what the women see them as? Disposable. And you want to mitigate that with what? A whole bunch of Bible talk and Christianity? How's that been working for the past 50, 60 years? Oh, wait, it hasn't been. But Charlemagne don't even know how to challenge. Charlemagne is older than Z. He's older than me. I had this conversation with a brother that graduated from Wharton School of Business. Y'all know who I'm speaking about. And I was able to say that. He was like, yeah, you're right, Z. Okay, then. And you couldn't do that to Larry Elder? Because you don't fully appreciate how important politics is for black people in particular. And your class position, your current class position is showing. That part too. You just don't appreciate it. That's all. And so you bring Larry Elder on and he has his way with you. Maybe you should go see the doctor. You might be pregnant. Right? He has his way with you. Right? Christian values and fatherless homes, and that's going to fix everything. The economic, you will be right back here in 20 years. You will be right back here in 20 years. You don't appreciate why the nuclear family isn't that important to these people anymore to bolster. All that talk of family values that they really don't mean. Even the white women don't want to marry these extra average white dudes anymore. You think that's because of a lack of religious affiliation or, some type of morality? You think it's only morality? I'll agree with you that to a certain extent it's morality. You think it's only morality? You told the women it's nothing but money. You told the women that's what you said. And you said that for decades. You sold the women on consumerism and neoliberalism, materialism. And then you wonder why they don't want to marry your extra average ass husband? I mean, extra average ass men? Right? What's the marriage rate? 26% of poor Americans are married, 39% of middle class, 56% of upper middle class and above. What does that tell you, Mr. Larry Elder? Y'all swear by capitalism, and then when capitalism bites you in the ass, then you're like, well, that's not the problem. You told the women to turn the men into commodities. That's what you said. Oh, wait, you think because you didn't use those exact words, you didn't say that. What you think no romance without finance mean? Oops. What you think the ladies hear when they hear no romance without finance? He's nothing but a walking wallet. 50 years later, I know that's an old ass term. I know it's older than 50 years. It's not just welfare handouts. Stop it. Y'all act like, look, I'm sorry to inform even brothers in the black manosphere. I don't know why y'all think these ladies ain't making no big bank off of welfare like that anymore. Stop. I told y'all that when I first got here, I said that. I get it. But this is not the 1980s anymore, early 90s anymore. These ladies ain't making hundreds of tens of thousands of dollars like that. Y'all act like they walking out they not walking out with 70 grand. Right? Y'all sound like Ronald Reagan. Right? George Carlin, thank you, Naaman. I was trying to remember Carlin. Yeah. Why do the poor people exist? Just to scare, just to scare the crap out of other people, keep them going to those jobs, right? Larry Elder took the head off of Charlemagne, and Larry Elder is light work. That's not Larry Elder used all tire talking points on top of that. And my warning to brothers in the Black Manosphere, I hear y'all. I'm here. But let's not turn into what the women are for the Democrats. Because the Republicans ain't going to give you nothing. That's the difference. At least the Democrats flick a couple of crumbs for the women. The Republicans ain't even going to do that for us. They're going to tell us get down where you get down and lay down. We do it for the white men. If you catch a crumb, good luck. Right? If you catch a crumb, good. Right? Y'all already know my political affiliation. I'm not here to change anybody's voting patterns, right? What you believe in or any of that. I just don't want to be played by these people who don't mean right by anyone. Right? These are people that tell you corporations are people. I'm just saying. Right? These are one people that told you they want the government to be so small you could drown it in a bathtub. Right? Meanwhile, corporate tax cuts and all that other good stuff. And a bloated military budget, but that's a different kind of conversation. Right? And for Charlemagne to get his head taken off by Larry Elder of all people, with all talking points, it's not even like Larry Elder came in with some new nothing. You're not even. Oh boy, Larry Elder didn't even come in with anything new. He didn't say anything new. You lost to like 40-something-year-old black conservative talking points. And a bunch of like anecdotal, yeah, my father this and family this and family. That's what you lost to? And old-timey wisdom? Pathetic. What you think, Charlemagne, is that Larry Elder never got his Negro wake-up call. Larry Elder got his Negro wake-up call. He don't care. It's the rhetoric. It doesn't matter what facts you present to Larry Elder. Brothers like that don't hear nothing you saying. Oh, one day he'll get his Negro wake-up call. The nigga's over 70. Stop it. Negro wake-up call. Man, the alarm been ringing off the hook next to Larry Elder his entire adulthood. His ideology trumps any experiences. He does not care. And for you to think that you could catch him up with the definition of Negro wake-up call was pathetic. $70-something-year-old. You think he don't know what a Negro wake-up call is? You actually fell for that. And he took your head off. And left you speechless. That's the funny part. Kind of sad part. And you let him get all these lame ass talking points off. Old, lame, not even no new stuff, but really they don't have no new stuff. They think you could fix the economic landscape by having nuclear families and you good to go. Not these old, decrepit, right, institutions, right? What they say, we have Paleolithic minds, medieval institutions, and space age technology. Larry Elder and them don't have no answers for that. Just get married to your women and raise your kids right and pull your pants up and and I'm a good Christian American in the beginning and end. Larry Elder didn't even say anything new. And you got your head taken off by Larry Elder. Oh, Charlemagne, there ain't no way you ain't never heard about. I've been hearing about Larry Elder. What am I, mid-30s? I've been hearing about Larry Elder since the 90s, since I was a kid. Right? You had him on. He got his head taken off in California. That was a joke. He was governor of California. Stop it. Right? Now he's running for president. Right? That's going to be this Republican debate is going to be interesting because they're all going for the same market, sounding the same. What's the delineating line between Ramaswamy, Larry Elder, Nikki Haley? What's the delineating line between them? We all sound the same. We all say the same things. Right? Right? Greg Abbott, DeSantis, what's going to be the difference? That's not a debate, that's a chorus. Right? This is crazy. And like I said, I have conservatives in my family, I have Republicans, so it's not even just a left-right thing. But Larry Elder was like disingenuous as hell in that whole damn conversation. And Charlemagne, you didn't even know how to push back. You didn't even know how to push back. We ain't even gonna mention DJ Envy, and you're a whole what? Hampton graduate? Like, this is where the old heads come in with you let entertainers be your leaders, right? You let entertainers be your leaders, and so, well, there you go. And Will AR says, the inward wake-up call is a overplayed Hotep talking point. Is it supposed to transform people who experience it? I haven't seen it. It's a lazy shame tactic that no longer works with integrated folks. Bro, look. Are there people that get that call? Yeah. Are there people that tap dance and coon their entire goddamn life and never get nothing? Yes. But banking on this supposed Negro wake-up call, like you said, Will AR, that's going to, shake you out of supposedly kissing white rear end or like advocating from a particular direction. It is lazy. It is lazy. And you have to remember, people have their political philosophy and ideology, and it doesn't matter what their experience. This is what I'm on. And Larry Elder checked him for it, rightfully so. You just let this dude tell you you're not black if you don't vote for him, and you ain't say anything. right? You didn't say anything. You ate that. Larry Elder got you with that. There's nothing else need to be said. That was the end of the interview right there. Shut it down. It's done. Right? And I said it before. AB said it before. The Democrats have a man problem, but they really looking bad in front of black men right now. The Republicans have anything to offer black men? Not really. Pulling yourself up by your bootstraps, right? But what they can do, and this, tinfoil hat, this is Mr. Z's theory on this one. The Republicans don't need black men to vote for them. I don't even think that's the goal. They need black men not to vote. Consider that. The Republicans don't need black men not to vote for them. They just need black men not to vote for Democrats. Stay home. Be so disillusioned that you stay home. Now, there is data that show Republicans do better when less people vote. Like, let's stop playing. Like, that's a real thing. I know conservative brothers don't want to hear it. It's true. Right? You see what I'm saying? Dr. Thunder says a lot of liberals think that Candace or Larry Elder would be easy, and that's why you never underestimate who you're speaking to. You never take them for granted. Right? And Candace Owens, if you study Ben Shapiro, Candace Owens will be a cakewalk. But how many people got it in him to listen to Ben Shapiro ramble on his show or watch his debates and watch when he had the conversation with the British dude and watch him fall to shambles because you can't fast talk that guy. So you can see what it really looked like when you put his back to the wall. Right? And see how Candace Owens speak to white men with the smiley smile thing, especially white conservatives, the smiley smile thing when she was speaking to Joe Rogan. That fake bubbly smiley smile laughy laugh thing. Stop. Right? And Dr. Thunder says Candace is far more dangerous in a debate than Ben Shapiro. I think because people are prepared for Ben Shapiro. Maybe not. But people are prepared for Ben Shapiro. They really take Candace Owens as a joke. Candace Owens is no joke. Right? Studying under Charlie Kirk, Ben Shapiro and them. Right? This is what Will AR, this is exactly what I'm saying. The Republicans need, and thank you for the super chat. The Republicans need black men not to vote. Democrats need black men to vote without demanding anything. Either way, black men lose. Nothing in 2024. Maybe that should be the hashtag. Maybe that should be like our hashtag for Black Manosphere for 2024. Nothing for 2024. Black men, who y'all voting for? Nothing. Nothing 2024. Right? Yes, Neymar mentioned it all the time, and Neymar says, don't forget when Ezra Klein put Ben Shapiro in the corner. I mention it all the time. When you watch these debates, when you watch these people have a conversation, you get to learn how they speak, and you can see the holes in their argument. right? What's the other what's the other middle-aged brother economist? Not Thomas Sowell. Not Thomas Sowell. I actually have it in my community chat. That debated Richard Wolff. And you can see when Richard Wolff puts his back to the wall, right? You have to watch, and it's not just watching it just for entertainment, but to help you form your own mind, right? Your own opinions, separate and apart. You know, patting myself on the back, brother. There's right leaning brothers and centrist brothers that listen to me, that subscribe to me, that can have a conversation with me because I don't wholly buy into all the stuff on the left. Glenn Larry, thank you, Excalibur. Glenn Larry, yes, right. I don't wholly buy into everything on the left. And I think more Americans are fundamentally more centrist than what our political environment, or at least what you would watch on kind of these cable news shows, would suggest. Yeah, Dr. Thunder, I'm about to put the link in 1 minute. And Dr. Thunder says, "You open up the panel." Yeah, I'm opening up. Actually, I want AB said something I actually wanted to read. What did AB say? Where's that comment? Should have read it when I saw it. I'm trying to see. What was it that you said, AB? Earth said your first mistake was to take Charlemagne seriously, right? BGS says taking on Larry Elder is much like taking on Thomas Sowell. Yeah, Standard can talk and play, and some of the Democrats do it too, right? Yeah, right. So at the end of the day, the 20 or so minutes I watched, um, that I have to get back to. Quite frankly, I want to watch the whole thing. So once again, there might be a part two to this. Um, speaks to I think speaks to a lack of preparedness. The fact that this shows exactly, because I'm not getting from this what a lot of other people are getting from. A lot of people are getting, oh, Charlemagne got washed. Yeah, he did. First of all, yes, he did. Absolutely. Positively. But it also speaks to why Malcolm told us to watch out for these black entertainers. Right? Because when you don't, then white Larry Elders get to run amok. When you don't, then you get Hillary Clinton. You get Joe Biden, right? You get Donald Trump with a bunch of pictures piling around with the same black people that did when excuse me, when Trump is running for president, are then turning around, oh my God, Trump's the worst thing in the world. Yeah, but you got a picture with him from the early 2000s at his wedding. Oops. Or going out with him, or chilling with him, or being in the Trump Towers with him. What about that part? Right? So you're telling us that he's a slime ball, but you got pictures with him, right? So Charlemagne and DJ Envy proved it, and there's a lot of black celebrities that prove that. And that was my fear. When Barack Obama had all of those celebrities over, and he did it actually a couple times. When he had all these black celebrities over at the White House, and all I heard was, "Oh my God!" All I thought to myself is like, he's carrying favor. He's seeding the ground so that if I'm friends with Kendrick on the low and I have something critical to say about Barack Obama, Kendrick Lamar be like, "Oh, nah, man, I'm telling you, I met him. He's not that bad. You just don't get it." Right? It was actually pretty damn smart. Right? It's actually pretty damn smart to have Jay-Z and Beyonce at the White House, to have Beyonce perform, right?
Can we say strategic?
Yes,
By the way,
absolutely.
before we
You know,
continue, I just want to say, man, how many times I gotta tell you get that damn oil changed
yeah,
and replace the
yeah,
carburetors on that damn thing?
yeah.
What's going on, Z?
What's
What's
going on,
going on,
AB?
Z?
What did you want me to What did you want me to read that I posted? I
I don't
said that
remember. I'm trying to. Yeah, I was trying to. I'm trying to. I was looking. It was like, yeah.
I said that
Oh,
Z
okay,
is
yeah,
all
yeah.
over the
Here we
place
go.
at
Here
the
we go.
moment, so to speak.
What did you expect out of somebody who let Joe Biden define his blackness and didn't really push back? There we go. There we
yeah.
go. Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't get
yeah,
that part to the interview, that part where
yeah,
he called that out, but shout out to him for
yeah.
calling it out. I still ain't gonna vote
Man,
for him, but
I mean, first of all,
shout out to him
what
for
were you
calling that
thinking
out.
having him on? The
look,
smartest
I'm
thing
not.
was not to have him on.
No, you know,
Um,
I'm not against. Look, I'm not against Larry Elder being on. I actually want.
Okay.
I want black
right,
people to actually have a real conversation about what would be better, and black men in particular, to have a conversation about what would be most beneficial for us as a group. Because if you start doing the individual thing as black people, you don't have a vote. I want to be
yeah,
very clear. Black people's vote only matter because we vote mostly in one direction. Once you disaggregate
right,
that shit don't mean nothing no more. I
Fair
want to
enough.
be very clear with those of us in the black manosphere. We got to
Fair
be
enough.
careful on this. Now, if you're okay with spiting the women and the Democrats on that, then I'm all with it, right? I'm all with it, by the way. But I want you to understand why the black vote is influential and powerful. It's because for
right,
the most part, we're fighting over very small margins, right?
Hmm.
Most people that are going to vote Republican are going to vote Republican regardless. Most people that are going to vote Democrat are going to vote Democrat regardless. And black men find
Fair enough.
themselves in a very interesting position where whether whether you vote or not vote can help make and break elections, right? So that's where your
Hmm.
vote comes in, right?
you,
Fair enough.
You know, go ahead.
you pointed out that Charlemagne wasn't prepared for that anyway, and I actually agree with you because within 3 minutes he threw black men under the bus talking about trying to like we commit the most crime. Like how come he ain't pushing? I was thinking to myself, wait a minute, why is he not pushing back on that? And
Wait,
that
say that
was
again.
like
Say that again, AB. Say that again. I missed that. Say that again.
within the first 3 minutes of that interview,
Yeah.
Larry Elder was talking about how was trying to push while at the same time attacking the gynocracy that black men create the do the most common in the United States. Like, no, that's horseshit.
Yeah, so that whole crime thing, that whole gynocracy thing, that whole the look, when understand what we're saying. A 70-something-year-old black man is using the same talking points the white racists like to throw at black people.
Exactly.
That we're only 12% of the population, but yet we commit 50% of the crimes, is what Larry Elder was saying.
Right. Which is
Like
horseshit. But
like
yeah.
I get the brothers that want to like, ha ha, lefty, ha ha, ha ha. Yeah, but y'all missed the part about the brother that was old enough to live through Jim Crow using white racist talking points, and y'all don't see that as a problem. All right, okay, cool. Hey, all right, all right.
Well,
You don't see that. You don't see that as a problem, and you realize that when people say black in crime, they really talking about black men. You realize that, right?
yep.
Hmm.
So I hear this. See, this is the very interesting position that if you're part of the black manosphere and like you don't see that, like, do you not understand how like what Larry Elder is doing? He's kind of putting your back as a black man against the wall. Because I know a lot of us are like, well, I'm not around them niggas anyway, so it don't matter. Even really matter.
He's
It
using
doesn't
dog
matter. You
whistles.
you look like them. That's your
Yep.
cousin. Them.
He's using
That's why it
dog
matters.
whistles.
Exactly. So
That's
let me
why.
let me read this real quick. And Will AR says, thank you for the super chat, Will AR. A good matchup is between Dr. Thomas Sowell and Dr. Claude Anderson. The problem is white racist conservatives support Sowell. White racist liberals don't support Anderson. American politics is crap. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolute,
pretty much.
absolute dumpster fire. Absolute dumpster fire. Right?
And
And
poor Dr. Claus said, I'm giving up on you Negroes 2023. I don't blame him.
yeah, yeah. Look,
I don't blame him to a degree, but go ahead.
I think this was the goal. This was the goal, right? Men in particular find themselves in this kind of unenviable position. I don't see me vote for once again voting down ballot or voting third party. This might be my first election voting third party. Let's see. Um, but yeah, so because this shit is just it's ugly. It's I think bringing Larry Elder on was important. I think you know people need to hear what he has to say and kind of form their political opinion based off of that. But I think Charlemagne represents far more of the black demographic and black men than we would like to give him credit for. Where their political ideology is scattered and they don't really have. It's not just that they're centrists. It's that they try to take this thing that's juxtaposed from that thing and is actually is a binary and try to meld them together. Like
mix and match.
Yeah,
because cherry picking from both sides.
Okay, perfect example. I'm not gonna say it's impossible. I'm gonna let you go in 1 second, Abby. I'm not gonna say it's impossible for Republicans to consider reparations. I'm not saying it's impossible, but their entire party platform goes against that. Their entire it's not just one person. The entire party, it's not even just the individual. The party platform is against handouts in that way. Then you can add on the conservative white racists from the South type thing, right? So when I say that, I'm bringing that up to say, like, when you don't really consider that, then you find yourself in this situation once again where you're trying to bring these two things together or talk to this person about an issue that the other party would probably be better suited in speaking to, right? And I'll pause right there. Go ahead, AB, you were trying to say something, or was that?
Yeah, I was gonna put it to you this way. And unfortunately, you're right. There's a lot of black people that have this. Charlemagne don't stand for nothing.
Yeah.
And I try to tell people that on Facebook. I'm like, why y'all vote Democrats? They don't stand on anything. And y'all don't stand on anything. And like I had to point something out. Y'all know damn well that Dr. Cornel West stands for what's right, and you let the Democrats smear him like that. What does that say about you?
To me, it says there's a whole lot of disillusioned people that they'll vote party, big person, big name in party, because it's not because they don't actually believe in Dr. Cornel West and what he's saying. They just don't think he could win. It's the same thing we saw with certain people with Bernie Sanders. It's like, oh man, all these pie in the sky dreams, that's beautiful, but you ain't gonna win, right? It's that idea. And in many respects, it's kind of what we saw with the beginning of Barack Obama's election. With the beginning of a better yet campaign, that a lot of black people like, okay, well, who the hell is this Negro, running? Yes, get out of here, right? And when he started to really build steam, it was like, oh crap. Go ahead.
Until white people got on board with it, a lot of black people like, oh, who's that Negro?
Yeah.
And it wasn't one of y'all.
Exactly. Right.
He was more.
I'm gonna let Better You go after this. Go ahead, Better You.
Yeah. I didn't get a chance to see the interview, but when it comes down to it, in particular to the third party point, we have bought into the framing of the two-party system in this regard, that we are locked into this binary. And honestly and truly, the biggest way that a third party can win is if we vote for a third party.
Yeah.
Because real talk, every time I have a political conversation with somebody, whether they're conservative, especially if they're a true lefty, it's like you do not. The majority of people don't feel served by the two-party duopoly, but they feel locked in. And the thing of it is, fuck them niggas.
Why you showing your inner Roger report? You sound like Raj for real just now. That was funny, Barry.
Actually,
agreed, Better.
He's more in the vein of He's more in the vein of George Carlin, because I don't know if you remember this in an interview. I think it was Tough Crowd or something like that. George Carlin said, "You have no owners," because remember, you talked about the whole thing about the poor people are there to scare the middle class to show up in those jobs. In that very skit, he also said, no, sorry, it was later in another one. His last special is called "It's Bad for You." It's when he turned 70. He had a bit where he said, you have no parties, You only have owners.
Yeah.
It's a big
I remember
club,
him.
and
And you
you're
ain't
in
in
it.
it.
You're not in it.
Yeah.
And not
Yeah.
only that, he said they got everything, they got all the money went, and now they're coming for your social security.
Low key, kind of. And
They
that's
want it
so,
all.
and I really, this stream is really to caution us to not be what the women are to the Democratic Party, what black women are to the Democratic Party,
Of
with
course.
even less,
Yeah.
because at least the Democratic Party believe in social this and social that, so they'll flick a couple of crumbs off, right? Republicans ain't even gonna give us that. That's all I'm saying. I ain't telling you what to do. I'm just saying, right? So at the end of the day, and I mean, like, if you're an elite brother and then you just looking out for self, and let's say a tax plan in your state is gonna benefit you if you vote Republican, then who am I to tell you not to? But I want us to be careful with this, because it's not just the Larry Elder thing. I watched the interview that Cube did with Tucker Carlson, and I'm just like, so remember I said this, AB. You remember I said that the Republicans are gonna make a move on black men. I said this shit like years ago. I was like, they're gonna make a. Are they gonna really do something for you? Probably not. But are they gonna make a move to at least? It's like being in the friend zone. I think the Republicans are gonna friend zone black men, if that make any sense. Where they
They'll
really
keep us.
don't.
Give us the hopium.
Yeah,
Give us
exactly.
the false
Give it
sense of hope.
exactly where they're not gonna do nothing for you.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe still do things that actually are against you or don't benefit you, but kind of play with you a little bit, kind of tease you a little
Here's an
bit,
example I'll give you.
insult the Democrats in your presence, be like, the Democrats ain't doing nothing for you, which is true, by Mr. Z, and it's not gonna tell you it's not true, right? But when it comes down to it, when they're in office, when whoever wins governor or whoever wins, senator or whatever, they're just gonna look at you like, well, you know
Let
what my party
me.
stands for, right? So yeah.
Yeah. Z, let me put it this way, and let me give you something from the East African part of politics, East African political scene.
Wait, before you finish, wait, let me read Will AR, and then let me read Tampa Bong. And Will AR says, Z, I disagree with that part. The Dems giving us crumbs. They haven't given us any crumbs since the 1990s. But Will AR, I didn't say anything about us. I said black women. Black women. I was very careful. Black people, no. Black men, no. Black boys, no. Black women, yes. Black girls, yes. Right? And what they couldn't do publicly, politically, they handed it off to like their donors and stuff and banks and whatever. Like, but that's how you get Goldman Sachs, right? That's like, hey, we can't do anything politically for you, but we can do this way, and that's why Ed Blum is going after these type of things now, right? Well, one of the reasons. But and then let me also read Tampa Bong just wanted to support. Thank you, Tampa. Thank you. Thank you for the super chat. And go ahead.
Wait a minute. What currency is that?
I have
the Tampa Bong exchange.
I'm not.
I think it's
sure.
I think it's Philippines.
Is that Filipino peso? Is that the Filipino peso? Okay.
I think so.
Yeah. But
Okay,
yeah, go ahead, name it, because you already know BGS and Dr. Thunder get primary. We got the dark and we got BGS in here.
We just regular people today.
Just taking a stroll.
Well, it's good to see. It's good to see.
Doc is a resident conservative. So
no, resident centrist. Doc said, don't put him in over there.
Oh, Doc is a real conservative, man.
Oh yeah, you know what? Yeah. Not the newfangled Tea Party and Trumpians.
No, not that kind of crap neoliberal conservative shit that they.
Not the Reaganites.
No, he's not a Reaganite. No. He's an old-fashioned, stomped-down conservative, right?
If I may,
go ahead.
Just to be polite, being polite. First of all, it's good to see a fellow Orthodox up in here, but that's neither here nor there. But think of it this way, Z. Especially like if you're especially like in the world of geopolitics, where certain nations are deciding which side to join, so they're going to try to play both sides of the fences, or play both sides against each other to see where they can get in, where they fit in. That could be like a certain way we look at that was some of how black men in American politics are as a voting bloc, and whatnot. But like when they give you, like especially those of us who come from tyrannical one-party states. When we hear the rhetoric that they're going to promise us something, we just look at it and say, oh, it's just more anti-pain you're giving us. When they mean anti-pain, they just it's like basically you got shot. They just basically they shoot you instead of taking you to the hospital. They give you the false promise of taking you to the hospital, and they just give you a painkiller every now and then, just to shut you up long enough until the next time you start saying, "I ate my leg," and they just gives it, "Hey, here's some painkiller." That's what they call anti-pain. Where I'm from. I'm sorry, they say anti-pain. Sorry, but anti-pain painkillers or hopium, as y'all be doing. They're giving you more hopium, so to speak.
Both sides give you hopium.
Yeah.
All governments give you hopium.
You need it actually to run a society. Yeah. You need the promise of upward mobility and of keep your head down and if you do it this way and what they call it dimorphism, social. Oh my God, there's a word for it. I can't get it out right now.
Upward mobility or
no. It's something like that. And last time I checked, I can't remember who it was. Was it Richard Reeves with Dream Hoarders? I want to say it was Richard Reeves who said Britain has more like social up and down movement than America currently. Mobility? So yeah, but it was another word. It was a D word like dimorphism or something like that. And essentially, Britain, a freaking monarchy, has more of that than America does, and that to me, I'll never forget the fact that he said that.
Right? So, I think he's meant to say social digression or something like that.
No, I don't
social degradation because the working class in the UK, they've been compared to the US, the working class in the UK, they've been hit hard. I don't mean hard, but hard. Right. Go back to the Margaret Thatcher years. Anyway,
well, the Margaret Thatcher years. Margaret Thatcher just sold off everything, privatized the world, everything for sale. Go ahead, BGS and Dr.
Sheffield and whatnot.
Yeah, go ahead. No, you go ahead, BGS and Dr. Thunderhood. Which one of y'all want to go first?
I just want to say, man, that number one, Charlemagne deserved what he got because he didn't show Larry Elder proper respect. There's a reason Larry Elder's been around so long, and there's a reason that he's been. He's Larry Elder's a Reagan neoliberal. That's really what he is. Okay, that's what he came up as. He was a lawyer before he became a talk show host. So to come in thinking that you're going to just be flippant and get away with
the jokey jokes type shit,
joke kind of stuff. If Larry Elder wants to play along, he could have. But the thing is, he might not have been in the mood. He wasn't.
One thing I'll give Larry, he stood his ground.
Yeah.
Basically, he knows who Charlemagne is. He knows Charlemagne's a rookie. He treated him like that. Like, son, sit down.
It was embarrassing. Shit was embarrassing.
Like, son, sit down. The nigga wake up call. That's so 1960s, okay,
bro. And in other words, Charlemagne, you got your nigga wake up call by Biden and by Larry Elder.
He called you
you got your nigga wake up call from Larry Elder. Anyway,
that's pretty sad. But go ahead.
Well, actually, if we want to throw in Hillary Clinton with that too, y'all let her talk that hot sauce in the back thing and didn't say nothing. I was hot from then. I was hot from then.
But Larry,
you should have been hot back in '93.
You're gonna try to find your balls with Larry Elder, and you wasn't ready for it. Okay.
Yeah.
You should have just interviewed him just like everybody else and asked him questions and been respectful, regardless of what you think about him. Okay. There's a reason he's been in this game for 40 years. Trust and believe, man. In the 1990s, we tried to run him out of town and it didn't work. Okay, because the small hats got behind him. Trust me, I was on that. I was with that coalition, and we damn near had him, run off the air. But hey. He's a survivor. He's smart, and he's got people behind him, and he's been through the war. So what little stuff that you gave him, there was nothing. So,
and we weren't even prepared.
I don't know what it is. Maybe millennials, man, like that, think they're the smartest people.
Is Charlemagne a millennial? Thank you. Goddamn, he's Gen X.
I don't know about that.
He's probably among the youngest, but he's an Xer.
He's an Xer.
I'm looking it up.
Okay.
Yeah, he's an Xer. I'm gonna look it up right now to see what day he's born.
All right. All right. See, BJ. Look. There you go, BJ. You can't put that on us.
For a minute, BGS.
Right.
That smart ass shit. Like you're the smartest person in the room and got your head handed to you.
I found his birth date. It says here June 29th, 1978. Charles.
Yep. Not a millennial. Boom. The super young Xer though. Super young.
1978.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go.
Yes,
There we go. Thank you, BGS over here trying to put it on us. It's
Later.
always the millennials' fault. Look at. Everybody hates Chris. Everybody hates the millennial. But yeah, go ahead, Dr. Thunder.
Yeah, what's happening, everybody?
What's going on? And Art, if you want to come up, you can come up too, Art.
Yeah,
go ahead,
this is
Dr. Thunder.
Wait, who is he?
This is a
In his
yeah.
comment.
This is a really good topic. I think one problem, and this is a general issue, but I'd say that Black folks definitely participate in this, and that is the tendency to treat other people's perspectives as being sort of simple and easy to unravel. Other people's perspectives, their ideologies, arguments from the other side as being dumb arguments. But then what happens is when they actually have to face those arguments because they didn't really acknowledge the wisdom within those arguments. They don't actually understand those arguments. They get embarrassed. And this is a usual thing that happens. But the thing is that usually in our community, what we'll do is we will do the thing where if you get a slick diss in, then that counts for as if you actually represented well and didn't get yourself totally handed to. I mean, I don't even have to watch. I wouldn't even have to watch that interview with Larry Elder. I know folks that know Larry that are in his inner circle. This dude is super knowledgeable, and if he was not doing the political thing, he was an attorney, right?
Yeah, that's what he just said.
Right. So you're going to get yourself in trouble if you don't respect the arguments of your adversary.
Yeah.
You can't just say, well, I'm just going to win this based on basically saying that you're an Uncle Tom. Right. You're an Uncle Tom. You're racist. You're a coon. See, that stuff doesn't work anymore. That stuff is not effective anymore because unfortunately, the Democrats have overused those terms when talking about Black conservatives, or even you don't even have to be a conservative. You could be a person moderate, that's in the center, right? I'm more, I'm pretty conservative. I try to avoid that word because it's easy to misunderstand what's. I'm a free market guy.
It's lost its meaning. So yeah, most
right. I'm a free market guy, but I am with some of the social programs that have been shown to help Black people. I'm pro those social programs. I am actually pro original affirmative action. Original affirmative action before it was bastardized, changed into something to favor white women over everybody.
Right.
So that wouldn't be considered conservative. I'm pro reparations. That's not considered, conservative. But by the new definitions of conservative. And I grew up with a lot of conservatives. I mean, I grew up in the country in a house that is on a dirt road. It's still a dirt road. My parents still live in that house. I mean, we used to dip out our own milk. We'd go into the dairy farmers. We had to deal with him. He left it unlocked for us. We go in there, dip out our own milk, So I understand white folks, I think, better than most brothers get an opportunity to understand white folks. And so a lot of the, I think, supposed vitriol or hatred that a lot of people think that white people have, and then therefore ideologies that they seem to be a fan of, a lot of that racism or whatever is just not really the case. It's just not really the case. There certainly is systemic racism. There certainly are people that are racist. And the system is set up definitely to favor the dominant society. But anybody that was the dominant society, if black people were the dominant society, we do the same thing. So I don't think that part is genetic. So I think that a lot of stuff ends up getting mixed together. And I think that's why Charlemagne thought that he was going to have a good time. I was making a comment about Candace Owens.
Yeah.
A lot of folks treat now Candace is a swirler, and Candace says a bunch of stuff that I'm like, okay, you can go somewhere else with that. But if you think that if you think that she would be an easy or like a cakewalk kind of conversation, and you can pick your favorite personality that's on the left. The reason that Candace has as many followers as she does is she's been tested in a lot of those situations, and she, for the most part, was on the plus side of those conversations.
She literally stood up to the Asian dude in Congress. I'm just saying. Go ahead.
Yeah, I watched her debate Mark Lamoise Hill. So she is not who people think she is.
Yeah, and she's very knowledgeable. She's a lot more knowledgeable than people give her credit for. She's very knowledgeable. She has to be. Right. She has to be, but she's not just knowledgeable about the surface level talking points. I was watching Sergeant why can't I think Sergeant SWP? Yeah. SWP. And of course he did a sort of a blow by blow on the same interview that we're talking about, or the same interaction, I should call it. And the thing is that the reason that Larry uses those same talking points over and over, and people are calling him lame and like this, is because they've not really been defeated. I mean, not in the forum that they are arguing in. Sure, they've been defeated by scholarship or by somebody that's not in the discussion. Right. But when they get in these discussions, those talking points are not being addressed like they should be, because I think they're being belittled. They're not being taken seriously.
Yeah.
You know, and so he doesn't have to. I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. He don't have to change. You know, he doesn't have to change his approach. But if you think that he couldn't go a different direction, or that he didn't have any other gears, I think that would be a mistake. I think people would get messed up there too.
So he didn't have to change gears because Charlemagne wasn't the opponent. Charlemagne wasn't a good enough opponent to cause Larry Elder to have to do anything more than what he did there. And that was a love tap. That was a little tap on the ribs that he gave Charlemagne, and Charlemagne was out. That wasn't even a real,
Yeah, one last thing. I don't want to monopolize the
No, go ahead, Dr. Thunder. Go ahead.
But one more thing. Larry, I disagree with Larry on a lot of things. There's several things I disagree, but I would argue, but I actually agree with him. I probably agree with him more than I disagree. But the stuff that I disagree with him on is really like big stuff.
Right.
And I've been making this point frequently over the last couple weeks in particular. See, you can be for yourself personally, you can be I'm not going to make excuses. I'm going to, make the best out of this situation. I'm not going to whine, complain about it because it's not going to better my own circumstance. I'm just going to get out there and make it happen. You can do that and also acknowledge and recognize that there's something wrong with the system and for the sake of future generations, for the sake of your brother, for the sake of other people. So you can say, okay, the way that the system is designed is not favoring us. It's not good for us. right? And there's problems that need to be resolved. But then you can also be, you know what, that ain't going to change right now, though.
Yeah.
And so I got to, for myself, I got to get it happening. And so it's interesting that folks on the so-called right and the so-called left, there's different things that I resonate with for different reasons.
Yeah.
If you're talking about societal stuff, I may agree more with folks on the left because they're at least willing to have the conversation, right?
Yep.
If you're talking more about self-improvement, making the best out of your circumstance, you know, like my dad taught me, and my dad has been a lifelong liberal, but my dad taught me never to make excuses.
Yep.
I mean, and all that sort of line of self-reliance and all that kind of stuff that the conservatives talk, I resonate with that. But I just don't think that that's the only thing. You have to address these other issues too.
You have to create the environment where the self-reliance actually means something. When you don't create the environment where the self-reliance means something, all you do is cause future resentment, and that's when you get cities burning down.
Trust and believe the libertarians and everybody else, they try to work on the system. Don't believe that it's just individual stuff. I'm going and man up and do it all alone. No, they're in there trying to change laws,
tinkering and stuff. Yeah,
tinkering stuff. Yeah, that's bullshit. They both do it.
Yeah.
Last point, I promise. Last point.
No, Dr. Thunder, you got it. Look, yeah, right.
Well, there's a third party thing, and I'm a third party guy. And I have delineated my, my sort of list of things. I've called black men the new political X factor.
Yeah. Shout out to Dr. Neil. So BMI.
Yep.
Yeah. 100%. I've definitely been very.
Yep.
Yeah. So, what was I saying?
The X factor.
The X factor.
Yeah.
Black men, the political X factor.
Yeah. So black men are the new political X factor, and we have some options at our disposal. So one of the options is we can vote for Democrats. That is an option. Okay, we would need to see what the Democrats are offering us that is worth us aligning with.
Yep.
But that is an option. And frankly, the Democrats, at least, although I believe it to be disingenuous and in a way to give us some symbolism, some empty symbolism that doesn't actually do anything, and they constantly renege and don't actually do anything. But at least they're willing to have the conversation. At least during an election cycle, the Democrat will be at the black church.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I think that's totally phony. I think it's totally bogus. But there ain't no Republicans there.
Yeah.
So you have to at least be willing to say, well, yeah, it does seem disingenuous, but at least they saw that it was at least important for them to do this, right? So there is that. The second thing is black men can vote for Republicans. Yeah. The problem with the Republicans, though, is we have to acknowledge that the Republican Party has been somewhat of a safe haven for white nationalism.
Yep.
Okay, that is definitely the case. Now, are all of them like that? No. Okay, and I'd say it's a small percentage. Okay, but it has been a safe haven for white nationalists, and rather than acting as though there hasn't been any issue with racism in the Republican Party, what they could do is they could just apologize. They could just say, you know what, we've gotten it wrong all of this time, and we're going to do better. We're sorry for the history of X, Y, and Z. They could delineate some specific things, and then they could show and prove. They could actually start showing up in the black community. And I think if they did that, I don't think the Democrats would know what to do.
I think Michael still tried that, though. I think that was his whole project, right? Like the whole, and I don't know, because, Roland Martin spoke to this. Michael Steele has spoken to this. Like, you know, the like the Republicans, the black people, particularly higher up in the Republican Party, trying to kind of, hey, you know, you got this whole contingent of black people, namely black men, that all you got to do is whisper a few sweet nothings, and like they're kind of looking for someone. But you know, go ahead.
Look, man, I've been a church musician for, you know, a lot of years, mostly in black church, and every 4 years or every 2 years, however the you know, the stuff,
whenever the election cycle's up, pretty much.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I mean, Democrats are always camped out at the church. I've never seen a single Republican show up. Never.
Yeah.
He's right.
0% of the time. And I'm talking about, I've never even seen a black Republican show up.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. So I'm saying that there's a real issue there. If they fix that issue, I think that would be. I don't think the Democrats would have something that they really could do. You know,
what do you think their resistance is, Doc? You know,
I just think that they've made a calculation, and the calculation is them ninjas ain't voting for us anyway.
Okay.
Okay, and we can spend our time trying to get some numbers where no numbers are going to ever, be recruited, or we can do this thing that we know is a sure thing, right? And so that's what they do. They just spend their time, and it's actually I think it's bogus because all of us deserve to be courted and recruited and all that, but it's actually a smart choice. The third thing is you can do third party, right? You could choose third party. Now, the problem with third party is people, they don't understand really what third party means, because they still think that if you vote Libertarian, so if a Republican encounters you and you say, yeah, I'm third party, I vote Libertarian, they'll tell you, oh, that's a vote that went to the Democrats. But then if you talk to a liberal, you talk to a Democrat, and you tell them, yeah, I'm Libertarian or I'm Green Party or something. So, oh yeah, that vote just went to the, to
Republicans.
The Republicans. Right. It's a wasted vote. They'll tell you it's a wasted vote. The thing is that if you can get a high enough percentage of third party, let's talk Libertarian in particular. If you could get a high enough percentage of Libertarians, of a Libertarian vote, then what happens is whoever wins, they will adopt a portion of the platform of the people that lose, so long as their percentage was high enough. So one of the reasons why a lot of this heavy polarization and acting as though the Republicans are significantly different than the Democrats, one way to know that is total hogwash is that whoever ends up president will end up adopting. If they're a Democrat, they're going to adopt a bunch of the Republican stuff.
They have to. Yeah, they have to.
They have to. They don't have a choice.
Yeah.
Right. So, and then of course the last option is you don't have to vote. Now, I'm not necessarily telling black men that they shouldn't vote. I think that so these other options that I just said are better options. And you can choose to caucus with whoever you want to. So even if I vote third party, I could still caucus with Democrats. If I vote for a Republican, I could still caucus with Democrats on things.
This is how you get around the state issue. Yeah. Yep.
100%, right? So I'm not saying that I think black men shouldn't vote. However, if a black man does not want to vote, he should not be told that now he can't complain.
Yeah. Well, not voting is a vote. It's a vote of no confidence. I don't think people really appreciate the vote of no confidence, right? You don't believe in what the system, these quote unquote choices that the system has presented to you are both crap, and your vote is a vote of no confidence, so you're not voting.
That's true.
Of no confidence. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, that's true. It is a vote of no confidence, but also even if it didn't count worth anything, if there was no value that you could assign to it, you still pay taxes.
Yep.
Okay, you still pay taxes, and because you pay taxes, that means you get to complain. You get to whine and complain. You get to whatever you want to do. That is your right. So no one can actually or should be able to guilt you into thinking that now you got to stay quiet because you didn't vote. And by the way, your ancestors, they died, they fought and died so you can vote. That business. None of that stuff applies anymore. And I think a lot of folks are waking up and they're recognizing that it doesn't apply.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been kind of preaching this sort of delineation of options, and this idea also that
I always appreciate it.
Well, you can identify with different aspects of the different parties. I was on Bernard's show, and this was a few weeks ago, and one brother came up in particular. And there's a lot of tribalism, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of ideology tribalism. So if you identify or see the merits of a particular point that's generally represented by Republicans, then the Democrats will claim that see, you're the problem, right?
Yeah.
And you need to not think that because you're supposed to be Team Democrat. The Republicans will do the same thing, and so we got to get out of that. I think that sort of tribalistic kind of approach to politics has really gotten us in trouble.
I've experienced that. Go ahead, name it, and I'll go after you. Go ahead.
Basically, they expect you to become ideologues and toe the line. That's what they want, basically.
Yeah,
However,
but toe the line so they can have a false argument is what I think Dr. Thunder is saying. Yeah.
But at the same time, they don't want you to think because they want you to become ideologues. Because, like, Mr. Z, do you remember the whole argument I said about backdoor feelings as well as feelings being over facts being two sides of the same coin?
Yes.
You remember that point I made? That's what I'm trying to get at here. Because they needed to be ideologically enshrined, toe the line, so
I can typecast you. Yeah, so I could typecast you so you could be a caricature, and it'd be easy arguments. And that's where Charlemagne messed up, because he thought he could have did that with Larry Elder of all people, you dumbass. Got your ass handed to
Elder
you.
is a fifth-degree black belt.
Yeah.
Charlemagne was basically got love tapped on his first day in class. When you think about it,
Larry Elder's the 10th degree black belt, man. Don't get it twisted. He's been in this game.
Oh, sorry, 10th degree. My
10th
mistake.
degree. Oh yeah, he's a master.
I've been in this game for years, and maybe not let me stop. But
don't call it a comeback,
at least
right?
Years.
But Dr. So the positions that black men in particular are put in, it is what Dr. Thunder said. So, and it has to be a demand no matter what direction you go in, right? You could pull the Tea Party thing, which is like that's kind of where you make such a big splash that whatever party wins, which, for black people, it'll probably be, because black men for the most part are still not part of the black manosphere, still going to vote mainly Democrat, but you make such a splash that they have to bring you in, number one, or bring your policies in. And if you make such a splash in the Republican Party, that would be interesting to watch that. Like Dr. Thunder was saying, like that would be interesting to watch how the Republicans how they internally deal with a large contingent of black men flooding in, but also watch as the Democrats watch as a large contingent of black men, leave. That would be. I'll pay to see that.
But I'm gonna tell you. I'll tell you why they really don't want the third party thing to really become a thing. Okay, because it's easier to fight against one enemy. So, like, if you're at a debate and you have, say, 4 people up there, you got a Democrat, you got a Republican, and then say you've got a Green Party person, and then you've got a Libertarian. Okay, I'm going to tell you, the Libertarian and the Green Party is probably going to tear the Democrat and the Republican up.
Yeah, I agree,
because they don't have that right. Because they don't have to. they don't have to fight like they just have more options. They have more options.
Yes.
They don't have to toe the party line like what Naaman was saying.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why they clarify that.
Can I just throw this in there real quick?
Go ahead.
With the whole third party option piece of it, and this is, I feel like this kind of gets into to what Dr. Thunder's saying, gets into the sentiment that there's not a difference between the Democrats and Republicans. That's a really hyperbolic statement. I think the truth is that there isn't a big enough difference. But if you notice, Ronald Reagan, neoliberal.
Yep.
Bill Clinton, neoliberal.
There we go.
Neoliberal.
Bush Jr., neoliberal. Yep.
They agree on the biggest thing, which is what to do with the money. There's a slight disagreement, but they both agree. It's like, hey, I'm gonna take it all. You get this little trickle.
Yeah.
Or
they call it the
or crumb.
Yeah.
I call it piss on you economics. But
I was waiting for you, AB. I was waiting for you. But let me read these real quick. And Louis Conyer, salute. Thank you for the super chat. Dardar, thank you for the super stickers. Pain Man, thank you for the super sticker. He says salute Z panel and chat. Thank you, brother. Thank you. And Temple Bonk said GOP thinks the law of diminished returns for black people. I mean,
not just black people.
Yeah.
And white people get they use black people to keep white people's off their ass. That's what they use black people.
Well, yeah, that part, and you.
And the Negro did it.
Right. So, and what better you would say? So the neoliberal presidents, bro. I had this conversation with a coworker. Oh God, it had to be like 3-4 years ago, and I was like, I don't think you get like the money part. Like the fact that they're like, yeah, all this money going to corporations and private industry, and our answer to everything is, big business. And I brought up to him, like, if what you're saying is true, right? And Barack Obama was this big, scary socialist leaders. Explain the banks then. Explain that. Explain what happened after the recession.
Yeah, Clinton in '99, Glass-Steagall Act.
The repeal of Glass-Steagall Act, which was put after the damn depression to keep the investment banks and the commercial banks away from each other.
Yeah.
And it gets repealed under a Democrat president.
Jimmy
Carter.
Matter of fact,
to kind of start deregulating the industry. So he started that in the
Yep.
And to kind of further underscore that too, if you keep in mind after the passage of Glass-Steagall, we really only had the SNL crisis as the major economic disruption. Now that it's been repealed, I mean, shit, we have a recession like every 5 years.
I think BJS, what did we say after Glass-Steagall? What happened? Was it like 7-8 years later? It wasn't even a whole decade.
It was really 7 years later after the.
See, and then the recession. Yeah, we counted.
No, it wasn't a recession. It was a crash. Recession is mild. Okay, you had a crash.
Yeah,
you had a crash in the whole system that had to be rebooted.
Well, they start,
and we still dealing with the echoes of that to this day.
It's not over. Those debts have never been resolved. They're still
there. And there you go.
Good boy.
Will they ever be resolved? That's the question.
So what?
Will they ever be resolved? That's the question.
Sure, it's called a debt jubilee, the Great Reset. That's the solution. Okay. When you think the WF
got the balls to break for it?
Huh?
When and how?
It depends. You can do it. You can make love or else. Okay.
Fair enough, sir.
You want to do that?
Fair enough. Ooh.
There's certain European leaders that met their untimely end by a whole lot of people in the country being unhappy about their current financial situation.
I can name a few if you want.
And heads were on other sides of guillotines and on pikes. I'm just saying.
Oh, you don't have to tell me that, but then again,
when George Soros gets nervous about something, you better start paying attention. Okay.
Yeah. And that's at the end of the day, I want us to be careful, and I'm glad Dr. Thunder came up to give us those kind of options and that kind of idea of what is out there, what the potential options that black men have, because I want to be careful with, and it's true. We're entering the political season again. It's gonna be fisticuffs. Get ready. We're gonna have a civil war in the Black Manosphere. It's coming. It's coming.
Yeah.
TikTok. It's coming. Right.
Your best option to fix this, the last ticket I saw, the best option to fix it was when I think it was Ron Paul and what's his name, Dennis Kucinich wanted to run third party. You had a lefty and a righty to come together, and 90% of what they wanted, they agreed upon, right? That was your best option to fix it. That's how come they shot that down, because the neoliberals, you can't have that. You can't have two people that really trying to fix something, right? You can't have it.
BGS Trail Bentley said hashtag none of the above 2024. There you go, Dr. Thunder.
I mean, unless you want to call, unless you want to vote for the Black Bernie bro, which is
but Cornel West, Dr. Cornel West.
Cornel West, he's the Black Bernie bro. Yeah.
I mean, don't tempt me. I will write Cornel West's name and I will take a picture. Do not tempt me, BGS. I'll do it.
And Dr. Thunder will probably know what I mean, because he probably, you don't have to say nothing, Doc. You know, I know you're professor. You don't have to say nothing, right? I do not trust limousine liberal, right? And what bothers me about Cornel West is not his stance, not him being black, but Cornel West has been a limousine liberal his whole entire life.
Yeah.
I hesitate with limousine liberals. I really do. I like Cornel West, but he's a limousine liberal, and I hesitate when they actually start espousing and try to run for office. I really do.
Yeah.
AOC is a limousine liberal. Okay.
All day, every day. Yeah. Twice on Sundays.
I just hesitate. So Doc, don't even weigh in, Doc.
Because remember, AOC was originally.
Doc knows what I mean, but don't even weigh in, Doc.
Right. Originally, AOC was a Bernie bro. She was a Bernie bro that got pissed with the whole pretty much how the Democrats played him to the left with the Hillary thing, because she bought the election. She bought the Democratic Party in 2016, like literally she, for those of you that hear me say that, understand Hillary Clinton literally paid off the Democratic Party's debts. I'm not joking when I say she bought them off. She really did.
She did, but guess what? All right. Go back and look at the history of a socialist candidate in this country, right? That was Eugene Debs. You will never ever.
Oh yeah, and what happened to Eugene Debs again?
He went to prison.
They put him in jail.
Thank you. My point. That's all I'm just saying. So
the closest you had to socialist was FDR, and he wasn't a socialist.
Yeah. And as a matter of fact, did FDR pride himself and say, "I saved capitalism"? He said that.
Yeah.
He did.
He bragged about that.
He did. He did. He told. That's why Obama repeated himself when Obama got in office, right? He said, as FDR said, some 70 years ago, "I'm between you and the pitchforks."
Yeah. Think about that. We institute social policies to save capitalism. I'm just saying.
Yeah. What do you think Glass-Steagall is about? Protect capitalism.
Yeah, well, you would have bank runs and everything else every other. Wait a minute, no, we're not that extreme. I'm just joking.
Remember that Twilight Zone where the guy was guarding the garden. Had put the devil in jail.
Oh no, I missed this.
It was held by this little staff. It looked like Moses' staff, little miniature, right? And and the guy didn't believe that the devil was actually in jail, so he let him out.
Wow.
That was them pulling the Glass-Steagall Act. Okay.
Yeah.
They're protected. We don't believe it. Okay.
I didn't even want to mention NAFTA, but I had to go there. And the Telecom Act. And we never mentioned the Telecom Act.
Telecom Act, the NAFTA. There's you can just go all the way down.
All under Clinton, by the way.
All under Clinton. Yeah.
All under Clinton. Also, there's a couple ones under.
And his side deals. Okay.
Yeah.
Can I acknowledge?
Wait. Let me say this real quick. Do the side deals really happen under Clinton's administration, or do they happen with the Clinton Foundation? Which one is the worst and most egregious side deals?
No, the worst side deals was under Clinton, his administration.
Well, okay, so when he was president, not when he was out of presidency, they over here, helping to fund the Clinton Foundation with when Hillary becomes president, quid pro quo type things.
It's a continuation of the same deal, basically.
Yeah.
Your only interruption.
May I read the comments, sir?
Wait, Neiman, give me a second. Go ahead, BJ.
The only pause was Trump was not a neoliberal. That was the problem.
Yeah.
He was.
What would you count? I want to hear this from everybody on the panel. What would y'all count Trump as? A disruptor? That's my answer, by the way. Go ahead.
Yeah, I would say he's a disruptor. I would say count Trump as he's closer to what Dr. Thunder is, free market. Okay, but the thing is, he's a narcissist. That's his problem.
He got it his own way.
Yeah,
go ahead. Okay. So we'll do this. We'll go Dr. Thunder, Big Kev, Better You, and then name I'm gonna save you for last so that you can read the comment afterwards. So right. Dr. Thunder, go ahead. What would you put Trump under?
Yeah, I don't care for Trump as a person. Mm-hmm. He's not the kind of guy that I'd want to be around my son.
You wouldn't want to have a beer with him?
Yeah, it's not that he's not my. I think he would say a bunch of stuff that, like, it would be on the edge of stop talking to me.
Yeah.
Like but I classify him as, he's more of a. I think he's more of a disruptor / more of a free market guy. Mm-hmm. But the problem is that he just gets in his. I think he gets in his own way because he can't control himself. I think he has some serious character flaws, which often seem to be for the kind of charisma that he has. I mean, and I know it's hard. I know that's not a word we want to associate with Trump, but let's be honest, that's what it is.
Yeah.
For the kind
that's
of charisma.
Won him the election. Go ahead.
Yeah. For the kind of charisma. Yeah. For the kind of charisma that he has, he's got to have something a deficit as a counterbalance, and that's what it is. The narcissism, the self-absorbed thing. I don't actually think that one of the criticisms that they give to Trump all the time is they try to say that, they say he's a great businessman, but he's been bankrupt all these times and blah blah blah. He's actually a failed businessman. And the thing is that no, that's actually, you don't understand how this works. If you've been around as long as he has and been able to continue to sort of pull yourself back up, and you have either a network or enough savvy to continue to rise from the ashes, that's actually an admirable quality. And I think that that's actually more valuable than someone that just basically has just been totally successful the whole time. You learn a lot when you fail.
Yeah.
And so that's actually I think that's a bad talking point. Every time I hear Democrats use that, I think that they don't know that that's actually a feather in his cap. I actually think. He
said that to Hillary, didn't he? I use the laws that y'all passed or something along the line. He said that in the debate.
He knows how to game the system. Yeah.
Yeah. He bragged about that in the first Republican debate. I remember that like it was yesterday. And then he said it again to Hillary Clinton when he was debating her. Like, I play the game the way y'all designed the game, right?
So I didn't vote for him either time, by the way.
Yeah. Me neither.
I didn't vote for him either time. Yeah.
You gotta admire the man. The man came in the door calling. He pretty much said, "Yeah, I'm a slime ball," and what? And then he became president.
But he has no shame. But he said that's. But he said so. He pointed at all the people in Congress. So are you?
That point, yeah.
That's what he said. So are you? I paid all you guys.
That's what he does.
I feathered all you guys' nests. What are you gonna say?
He literally said, I funded Democrats, I funded Republicans, because when I call, they answer. But when he said, I'm like, what else do you need to know? The man told you who he is. Hey, shout out to Trump. That's a whole. I don't know if we can have another person like that. I don't know if we can have another person because he's not a career politician, but he's been funding them.
Yeah.
He
was never supposed to get in. They basically he struck the right chord at the right time, and and the two people running against him, which were Democrats, was actually Bernie, who's a socialist that wasn't going to get elected, and Hillary Clinton, who couldn't get elected. You know,
Yeah.
I've done videos on her.
Yeah, on that whole situation. And quite frankly, the Hillary campaign took him as a joke. They wanted to run against him because they thought they could win against him.
Yeah, under normal circumstances, they would have.
Yeah.
Under normal circumstances, she would have won easily. But
yeah, well, there's that which you're thinking.
Yeah. That's what it was, man.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I've talked to people, and you know, that video's been up for like since 2016. Nobody's ever disputed it, ever.
Yeah. Wait, name it real quick. Big Kev, go ahead. Kev, you still alive? Okay, there you go.
I think he's in between sets.
No. I think no. He's running from the big girls. Go ahead.
With his bum knee?
I stay get on big. No, I'm playing with you, Kev. Go ahead.
The girls can move. Don't get it twisted, man.
Yeah, I've seen them some of the best dancers.
Yeah, they can move.
Yeah. All right.
And for a short sprint, they can catch you. Okay.
That's like alligators within like the 40 feet. You can't do nothing with an alligator in 40 feet. He gonna catch you.
You gonna catch you.
Right.
Yeah. For real.
I was about to say, but yeah, like going to what Dr. Thunder said, it just made me realize it's like, this is why it's like I try to shy away from this idea of people trying to talk about this like neoliberal or this like communist utopia, because it's like, how many times are we gonna have to learn from history that it just doesn't work? You know what I mean? Like when you look at the Gilded Age, hell, when you look at the modern day in places like South Korea, it's like, you know, the bottom line is this: is like without any rules, you know, people that are billionaires, whatnot, people that have a lot of money, what's going to happen is that the bad fake doctors are going to naturally rise to the top in an environment without any rules, because hey, who's going to check them? However, at the same time, it's like abolishing private markets isn't going to necessarily fix people's problems, because you're essentially relying on people having basically complete total dependency on the government for everything. And I'm sorry, but you know, government's too slow sometimes. So it is what it is.
It's a big heavy fist, but it takes forever to get there. Right? Depends on
the government. Because authoritarian governments, they move pretty fast. Okay.
Yeah.
Best believe it. Been there, done that.
Liberal governments, it take time because you have to argue about it. But China, how many bullet trains has China built?
They have the most rail on the planet.
On the planet, and 20. And this is the last 30 years.
Yeah, and they did it in like that's what I was gonna say, in a blink of an eye. And 30 years in the grand scheme of things is yesterday.
I've been waiting on the LA to Las Vegas bullet train for the last 40 years, man.
We just built one. We have the Bright Line over here, which is not a bullet train, and it is private. But yeah, it is. By the way, they're thinking about bringing a line over there by you too, BGS, and in Texas, I think they said from around there, the DFW area, or whatever, and Yeah. But they built the first one down here, and
the last authoritarian president we had was Lincoln. Okay, that's how come that the Transcontinental Railroad got built.
Mm-hmm.
He's the last authoritarian president we had.
Jeez. So 1860s. Over a century ago. Go ahead, better you.
Lincoln was not liberal. Okay.
No, definitely not.
So.
He told the South, F your Constitution. You can't be liberal and say that. Yeah.
Yeah, he sure did. He tore it up. He sure did.
Especially under the influence of Mercury.
Right. Go ahead.
I would characterize Trump as a New York Queens hustler, man. I mean, he. Real talk.
Which he literally is, though. I mean, literally.
He is.
He literally. Wu-Tang, cash rules everything around me.
Literally. Like, this nigga got gold-plated everything in his private plane. I'm not joking, by the way.
He did. He did. Yeah, he's that guy.
Does.
I mean, that's really all that hustler is the best title, I feel that sums him up. Like he's not a neoliberal, he's not.
So in other words, Trump should walk with Jay-Z Reasonable Doubt playing in the background.
Yeah.
That's his theme album, right? That's
he's free. That's the ultimate free market is the hustler, dope dealer, rapper, right?
Yeah.
Ultimate free market.
I mean, I think we just described his granddad. Oops.
Who Trump's granddad?
Yeah, Trump's granddad was over here moving. Excuse my language, Dr. Thunder, moving hoes and everything. Trump's granddad was that dude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He also immigrated to the U.S. to avoid conscription from Bismarck's army.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
A lot of
like Trump avoided the draft.
A lot of
Vietnam.
A lot of the aristocratic families, basically had their roots in that. Like the Kennedys were.
Moonshiners. Bootleggers for real too. Yeah, definitely. So New York hustler. That's what Better You said. All right, Naaman. Now go ahead, Naaman. Give us what would you categorize Trump as, and you can go ahead and read the super chat. And thank you, Adrian, for the super chat. Nah, Naaman, you ain't speaking. Look at this. And interrupted everybody 10,000 times, and when it's time for him to talk, he ain't talking. All right, then I'll read it. Okay. And thank you, Adrian Thomas. And Adrian says Cornel West and Lewis Gates said HBC. Wait, you can hear me? Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me read that.
Okay.
Let me read. Thank you, Adrian Thomas, for the $4.99.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the economy being what it is, you can't blame folks for a penny pinching, but it is what it is. And thank you. I didn't read the topic.
Oh no! My bad. No, I'm my bad. I was gonna read answer GC's question. Go ahead. Read that in, and then I'll go. Mm-hmm.
He said, Cornel West and Henry Louis Gates said HBCUs can't afford them.
Mm-hmm.
But the Ivy Leagues could.
Hey, I mean, they're getting their money though, right?
How much they're getting paid for this?
Oh, you know, Cornet's making bank. Cornet got to be making bank I don't even see him really do speaking engagements like that anymore. I think he's made so much money. He's not even like he lectures still, but it's not the same. He don't need to.
You have no idea how much money I'll be making. It's just amazing how I do that.
For real.
But, those speaking engagements I do, but. Like I said, he is what he is, and to elaborate on what Dr. Thunder was saying, basically he does exhibit the telltale signs of narcissistic personality disorder, impulsivity, because that part of the brain that's responsible for impulse control, little to no activity there. He says what he has to do his modus operandi is ends justify the means, so he's a moment basis type of person. Any engagement you have with him, he will say whatever he needs to do to get to me
in the moment,
some level of control. Yeah, he's like to sum it up, narcissists are basically emotional parasites, or as the esoterics would tell you, psychic vampires.
Yeah.
So he's gonna. And by the way, Dr. Thunder, here's what both antisocials, that's your psychopaths, and
pause for 1 second, Naaman. Pause for 1 second. Spain Man, this is the exact song I was thinking about when I said you need to have Reasonable Doubt playing in the background to Trump. Can't Knock the Hustle. This is the exact song that Can't Knock the hook for Can't Knock the Hustle needs to be Trump's like theme music, like for real. But go ahead, Naaman.
Until the missus starts bumping Lemonade. But anyway,
right? Hysterical.
Well, we need a hysterical moment, but like I said, like what Dr. Thunder said about the whole charisma, it's superficial charisma. This is not something that he was naturally born with. This is something he absorbed. This is what you're going to find from both people with narcissists as well as your antisocials. That's your sociopaths and psychopaths. They have this it's called superficial charisma. They learn this by observing from people how to act, what to say, what not to say. And the smart ones, they know how to apply it instead. Now, Trump is not the smartest one. He in the tier, when it comes to the tier, he's basically to use a certain category of narcissist, the tier there is, he's a lower tier form. He's basically your rudimentary. He's rudimentary in a lot of the things he does. He's just delusional. He says what he has to say. He has no impulsivity, and he's not above being violent.
Well,
But did you just call him a basic bitch?
He is a low tier because he is low tier, but he
Trump is a Keisha.
You know what? Let me elaborate. Let me elaborate.
Wait a minute.
Let's do this. Let's do this.
You said Trump is a Keisha.
Okay. If you want to take Keisha, you know what? Let me go Black Phillip on this. Let me go Black Phillip on this.
Let's do it. Because I want to organize this. So Naima finish with, because we got like another 20 minutes. So Naima, let's do this. More like 15. You finish up and say what you gotta say. Then, because the better you, that was I thought it. And better you beat me to it. So So we'll do this. Naima, go ahead and elaborate what you're gonna say. You got about 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Then we're gonna get Dr. Thunder and better you to go in. Dr. Thunder was like, wait a minute, you calling him a Keisha? Go ahead,
Thomas, thank you for the $9.99. As he says, people confuse speaking engagements for being a chair or of a department or being a dean. Cornell wanted tenure at an Ivy League, not an HBCU. Well, he was at what was it? Harvard? Yeah, he was at Harvard or Princeton, one of them. What I'm saying is basically like, let me put it this way. Let me elaborate with using Patrice O'Neal's whole thing. We said instead of a 1 to 10 scale when you're rating a woman, it's 1 to 30, but you have subgroups. Like 1 to 10, that's ugly ass. 11 to 20, that's eye looking, and then 21 to 30 is fine ass, right? But each group is those same things. You got ugly ass bitch, eye looking ugly bitches, fine ass ugly.
Remember, we got Dr. Thunder in here. Let's chill out with the profanity a little bit. That's
vice versa. So basically, what I'm saying is, he's more at the top end of the lower tier group. So he's like that fine ass ugly chick in a sense.
That's where you put him at politically.
It's not me who put him there, but there's an author, a YouTuber who is a self-professed narcissistic psychopath who studies this shit. He explains the tier system, and guys like Trump and a few others, and Duterte for that matter, they are narcissists, but like the rest of us, they're running an autopilot. There's no self-awareness. The top tier, those are the ones who are well aware, who have self-awareness and well aware of what they are. They just don't care. Because
would you categorize that as what, sociopath or psychopath, kind of, sort of?
No. This is narcissism we're talking about.
Yeah, no, I'm saying that, but if you go ahead, because I lost. I was trying to explain that.
With both personality disorders, narcissist and psychopath, the vast majority are average to below average, are mid tier or lower tier, because these groups have absolutely no self-awareness of what they are. The ones in the top tier, they have self-awareness because they are aware of what they are, but they don't care what they're doing because they have no sense of right or wrong. They just see things as cost benefits. That's all.
Okay, so I'm gonna pause you right there. Go ahead, Dr. Thunder. What you were saying about did Naima say that he's a Keisha?
Yeah, it sounds like right. It sounds like he's saying he's a Keisha. But one thing about him that's interesting is, and this I think explains pretty much everything you need to know. All you have to do to get something from Trump is compliment him.
Yeah.
Okay, so like,
I'll read that.
It could be low level compliments. It can just be something about, some basic aspect of his personality, or something that he was responsible for doing, or something in one of his speeches or something. All you have to do is just know something about Trump, and I think he will do something for you. Now that has been now that's actually an admirable quality. Actually, it's actually a good quality, because if you can imagine someone that if you can get to them, they would be willing to do something for you and help you out in some kind of way. That's actually could be beneficial to the people that are around him. But the problem is I think he's got a bunch of slumlords around him. Right. So
his administration did have a lot of scummy dudes.
Yeah, he's got a bunch of slumlords around him, and the way that they got around him is, guess, because they were complimentary of him. So they were blowing smoke. So this is the kind of dude that is manipulated easily by brown nosing, by sucking up, by complimenting. There's actually a lot of artists, musicians that are like that. Oh, it's a serious character flaw. But I'm saying it's at least the way I called it admirable. I didn't mean to say that quality in itself. I'm saying the way that the way that it's expressed, that character flaw is expressed, is probably the best way that it could be expressed.
Okay.
By the willingness to basically tighten up your buddies and help other people, and even little people. Like he'll pick out and has picked out random people and done something for them based on them saying something positive or nice about him. Right?
He saved the ball, brother. Right? He saved Kodak Black of all people. Got hit. It'd be random. You're right. It'd be they're not small in the grand scheme of things. Compared to him, especially as president. But when you think what happened where you decided to reach your long arm out to be okay, you know what? You don't deserve to be in jail right now. Or you know what? Let me make a phone call to China and get you out of this situation. Right? What other president would do that?
None. I don't think I've ever seen. I don't think I've ever seen it, because he's not concerned about the political aftermath. He doesn't care about it.
Yep.
Because he's a disruptor.
Exactly what I said earlier.
Yeah.
Exactly what I said, because I said he's on a moment-to-moment. The low tier, they operate on a moment-to-moment basis. Yeah. And if you flatter his ego, because that's like a narcissistic supply or a fuel for them.
GC is right about this real quick, Nema. GC is right. The ASAP Rocky thing that was in Norway, right?
Yep. No, motherfucker, that was in Sweden.
Oh, it was Sweden. Okay, my bad. It was Sweden. Okay, my
apologies. Secondly, I'll explain that another time. Why he had no pull on that one.
Okay.
I'll explain that another time.
Okay.
Maybe when we go offline or something.
Yeah, okay. So better you. What you were saying again? He's a You said a basic bitch. That's it. Killed me.
No,
was it better? I said you said a basic bitch.
Wait. Go ahead, better.
Yeah, to kind of expound a little bit. I really feel like it goes beyond it to. And even kind of piggybacking off what Dr. Thunder was saying, I really do truly think that his through line for all of his decisions is cash. Even his going to our live stream a couple weeks ago, where we kind of had the little bit of the debate about altruism with PK. I really truly think. I truly think altruism does exist, but I think in the case of Trump, he is the best personification of the type of altruism that PK was ascribing and describing that day.
It's altruism informed by narcissism. That's crazy.
It's some type of
talk. I agree with you, by the way.
Quid pro quo out of it, because it's hey, I get to be seen as this benevolent figure. I get to.
But that's what Dr. Thunder was speaking to, isn't that what you were speaking to, Dr. Thunder? It's the best expression of his narcissism. This type of quote unquote altruism is a good expression of his narcissism.
Yep.
Virtue signal.
Yeah. That's. But that goes to something I say all the time, where you can. There's a certain type of selfishness where you got to be selfless.
Yeah.
Where you actually have to be selfless. Because you reach the market cap of selfishness, where you got to do something for somebody else to get something in return now. And as a billionaire who became president, I think Trump fits the bill, right? A narcissistic billionaire that became president, right?
He's not the only narcissist in there, but that's another discussion for another time.
Yeah.
And to fold it back into the third party thing too, a lot of people either don't know or forgot about this, but back in 2000, I believe it was the Freedom Party. Trump ran for president.
Yeah, but it was lightweight though.
It was.
Yeah.
And the thing with third party runs. Say again.
Didn't
Ralph Nader?
Nader also run? Yeah, did he run in 2000?
Yeah, but Ralph Nader had been persona non grata, shit, for 3 decades at least.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I remember it was because Democrats were blaming him.
They make him look like a crazy person. Ralph Nader is not allowed on any political stage, like, at all. Much of for the same reasons that Dr. Thunder said earlier, which is like he's not beholden to any one of the parties, and he's gonna throw sidewinders and different, talking points, and they're just not ready for that type of And he knows too much. I've listened to a couple of his interviews. He's way too informed. Yeah, so it's
And that kind of goes to that is going to my ultimate point before I wrap up. Like when it comes down to the third party thing, like a lot of the rhetoric in trying to lock them out is because, one, if their message got to, I wouldn't even say mainstream, but to those people who are the more informed than average folks, those folks who may actually read political articles, different things like that, consume different types of material to try to keep a basic, finger on the pulse of what's going on. A lot of those arguments would win a lot of those folks over. And at the end of the day, keep in mind, it's a minority of Americans who's elected the president. Just think of if there was a message if a message got out and motivated half the people who don't vote.
I want to say that a different way, because I know you're right, by the way. Majority of Americans don't vote. A majority of Americans that can vote don't even vote. By the way, for those of you that don't know, so continue, better you.
And just to kind of close it all out and bring it on home, like I was saying before, like the biggest thing with third parties is the way that you know that the Democrats are fucking liars. I'm sorry, are effing liars when they talk about Jill Stein and Howie Hawkins and their impact on the elections is because, as Dr. Thunder said, historically what happens is when there's a significant threat posed by a third party, the party closest to them begins to adopt major tenets of their platform in order 100%. To co-opt them, and they basically pull the party right or left in a particular direction. And if they don't, you basically have where they siphon off so much support that essentially that party becomes defunct after a particular point in time to where they're no longer a factor.
We just saw that with the Tea Party. We just saw the Tea Party paved the way and created the environment for Trump to come in later. We just saw that with the Tea Party. So you're 100% correct about that. We just witnessed that,
Oh, by the way, not ASAP Rocky, but example would be Kim Jong-un, because remember, it's Kim Jong-un.
Oh, the beautiful letter.
Yeah, he gave the letter. He flattered Trump, and next thing you know, they're walking across the 32nd parallel.
Yep.
The ASAP Rocky thing, that's a little different because, in fact, ASAP Rocky, you got to compare his situation to what happened with G-Eazy. And I'll explain that offline.
Yeah, I didn't even know. Yeah, now I got to go, but I'm about to close out. But, so, I didn't even know G-Eazy got in trouble, but okay. Great conversation. This is oh, by the way, wait, I gotta say this just because we're part of the Black Manosphere, and I didn't say this not one time. Godnocracy. And rah, black men rule, black women rule.
We mentioned,
we gotta say that.
We also mentioned, wait a minute, Hose and Keisha too.
Right.
Right.
We gotta say
that.
We gotta say that. We gotta say it because it's not really the Black Manosphere. Dr. Thunder and Better You and Namer and Big Kev, they tell us that all we do over here is hate on black women. Meanwhile, we just spent damn near 2 hours speaking politics. So
wait a minute,
I don't know what to tell them.
I just realized something.
Don't forget too, we obviously all we're all misogynists. Remember that. So
that part.
Well, I'm a misanthrope, so I hate everybody. But
D. Scott said, "Hose is winning."
He said wrong. You said wrong, man. He's supposed to say, "Hose is winning."
Right. That's what they told us. That's what they told us. That's what they told us. But let me make the
I just
closing.
realized something. Closing. I just remembered Dan Carlin said it best about the 2016 election because he compared. First of all, he compared Hillary Clinton.
Name, you got to speed it up. You got to speed up. I'm about to close out.
To Tricky Dick, but he said, like, first of all, 2016. Look at it this way: you put an establishment candidate during an anti-establishment election year.
She got her head taken off.
Yeah.
Yep.
And more importantly, my question is, what about gerrymandering and this whole redefining the
oh no, we'll talk about that. We might actually have to do a part 2.
About that.
We're gonna have to do a part 2 on this. So let's do a closeout. All right. Thank y'all for coming up. Thank everybody for listening. So I'll pause right here. Love, peace, and chicken grease. Y'all go check out other Black Manosphere content, other non-Manosphere content. I think AB Media is streaming right now on one end, and then I think Kev from Blackman Being Brutally Honest is streaming on the other end. So y'all go where y'all need to go, and we will close out, and y'all have a great rest of y'all night. Mr. Z out. All right, everybody. Thank you for coming up. Neymar, thank you for coming up. Better You, Big Kev, Dr. Thunder, and BGS when he was up here earlier, and AB when he was up here earlier. All right, everyone. We out.
Stay out of those drive-throughs, Z.
Take care.
Peace.
All right.